Hello, friends. Bo Prosser, Bo and the Beard, Center for Christian Education, www.c4ce.org. Thanks for joining me for this emergency briefing. I'm joined, as always, by my companion and colleague, Ruben Swint, the generosity guy, the Carpe Bonum guy. Ruben, it is time to catch up. We have lost two Sundays, and many of us are worried about how are we going to get back on track, not with Catchup, but
Oh,
to
good.
catch up. So, what do we do, Ruben?
Well, I'm glad to hear there are not any condiments involved. That will give us a lot better chance of success. But,
Absolutely.
for two Sundays, maybe one Sunday, churches weren't able to meet. It was too dangerous to get out on the roads, uh, to try to get through, and it was good, wise decision making to save any injuries or possibly lives by not meeting. However, people who are not giving online, who give in person, weren't able to do that. And the church finds that it's 2 weeks perhaps behind in contributions, and that's affecting funding going forward. So,
Yes, and expenses are high because during this first quarter, we're paying for reservations for summer camps. We're getting ready for senior day and graduation day and all the things that come later in the spring.
right,
Our heating bills are higher.
I
Probably we
know.
had some expenses from getting the church grounds ready when people came back. So we're behind, Ruben, and we got to get back on track. Now, you call this go forward, not look backward. And I like that. So, how do we go forward and keep doing what we've been doing? In other words, Ruben, how do we carpe bonum?
Right. Yeah. How do we seize the good here? So,
Right.
here's my first suggestion. One,
Okay.
take deep breaths and kind of arrive at a state of calm, because you will not make a good decision if you're feeling anxious or panicky. First of all, arrive at a state of calm, deep breathing, meditation, scripture reading, prayer, whatever will kind of salve your soul, if you will, and be
Okay.
calm. Secondly, what part of carpe bonum, seizing the good, means being grateful for what you have already received.
Okay.
You missed two Sundays, but you didn't miss all the Sundays prior to that or since then. So be grateful for what you are receiving. Be grateful for the ministry you're able to do now. And think about it. Think about the impact that you are having. Uh, I suggest just make a list of all the different ways your church and church members are touching lives, helping lives, saving lives. Make that list.
Absolutely.
Make
We're
that list
still doing
because,
ministry. We don't need to panic,
right, you really don't.
but we do
God
need to
promised
catch
an
up.
abundance for every good thing you're called to do.
Right.
You're just not
Right.
feeling it right now, and there's a reason. So, what you're going to do is stop, breathe, reflect, and be grateful for what you have. Now, you're in a position to catch up on the giving, but here's the thing about the words catching up. It does sense in some way that you're failing. And you didn't fail. You just got impacted by Mother Nature. It was a natural occurrence. You didn't make a mistake. You didn't make a wrong decision. You didn't have a moral failing of any kind. You know, nature bit you. And so
Yeah. Yeah. In a big way.
now what you've got to do is, based on what you've already received, based on all the good that you're doing, you need to move forward. So, as you might suspect, I recommend an offering.
Yes.
This is why I don't call it a catch up offering. I call it a go forward offering, or
All
you could
right.
even say move forward. But from where you are, you want to go forward. And to do
Yes.
that, you need to recover the gifts you didn't receive.
Right.
And
And and the first rule is to ask. We will not raise another penny unless we ask. But those of us in the pulpit, we are a little shy about asking, and we don't want to preach about money, and we don't want to talk about money, and we just think whatever falls in the umbrella, that'll be good enough. The first thing we have to do is ask and be willing to ask unapologetically, without panic, directly to what we want.
and that's why you make your list, because what you're doing is you're asking people to keep these vital ministries that are having an impact, to keep them going by restoring the funding that the church missed out on because of the weather events. And hopefully, that money that wasn't given to your church didn't find its way into a thrift shop or a restaurant or into a new TV or stuff. It didn't. I'm sure you've got committed folks. They're trying to do the best they can. Some of them, if not many, may have already made it up, but you're not seeing it on your accounts. Your
Right.
accounts say our expenses are this much, and whoops, our receipts are less than they were this time last year. And you know why? Weather event, nature bit you. So,
Yes.
what you do is what you always do in the pulpit. Don't you invite people to take action when you preach a sermon?
Absolutely.
I mean, isn't there a call to act, even if the act is internal?
Yes. Absolutely.
This is no different. You
Okay.
call people to act with their pocketbook. You say, we need to keep doing all the good we've been doing. And we can do that if we can restore the funding that nature took away from us.
Right.
We want to go forward. And we can.
Yes.
We've got the capability. We have the same giving ability now as we had before the weather. So
Okay.
why don't we just produce it and give an offering on this Sunday, give a go forward offering, mark it on your envelope, mark it somehow so we know to count that as an extra budget gift, and let's give it, and then keep on doing what we've always doing, all this good stuff. We keep
Yeah.
on seizing the good because we've restored our funding. And pastor or other preachers out there, that's an invitation like many other invitations you are already giving.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So this is an emergency briefing. At least I'm titling it an emergency briefing, which implies crisis. But you're saying there's not a crisis. Breathe. Don't panic, which is great advice. Secondly, ask with confidence in the same way we ask for any other spiritual action to come from our pulpit. This one just happens to involve money. And then set a date so people can know what's coming, and then go forward together without worry, without panic, knowing that God is going to provide. So,
Absolutely.
so
Yeah.
far, so good.
So far. And let me say this about the stewardship action you're asking people to take. There's a spiritual benefit that derives from taking that action. And it is as powerful as any other action in terms of discipleship or spiritual growth that people can take.
Yes, yes. So you've calmed me down. You've given me the confidence to ask. I need to calm down the finance committee a little bit, because
Yes.
they're a little more anxious than I am, and maybe rightly so. But we come together, we ask with confidence, maybe even have a stewardship testimony in the mix on that particular day,
Yeah.
and we're ready to not look back, but to move forward.
Right.
Now, Ruben, have you ever done this before? Or are you just giving me some pie in the sky thoughts that come from you?
Well, I would not trick you, Bo. You're too wise for that. No, no. This is a proven process, folks. I mean, I've done this before with a client, and it worked extremely well. They had a
Okay.
funding shortfall of $100,000, and they adopted the philosophy of going forward rather than trying to catch up and looking back.
Okay.
And very successfully, they promoted a 1 day offering, and they received $135,000 to make
Wow.
them right on track with their funding plan of ministry for the year. And they were very pleased with that result.
That's amazing. So, carpe bonum, wherever we find ourselves, encouraging people to be generous and not panic. And we may not make it all up in one Sunday, but we got 40 more Sundays or however many we
That's
have
right.
left in the year,
That's right.
right? So there are plenty of opportunities to give. So you've written an article about the process, or you have further information for us?
Well, let me share a little bit about an article that this client church sent out with its regular news and to inform people of what they were doing and why, and when they would like people to respond. So I'm just going to read the opening part of this. Each week, I listen to people as they tell me their story of how God is using them to impact others' lives, including their family, friends, neighbors, and even strangers. Lives are being transformed, both those who receive help and those who offer it. I see the Spirit working through and then there's just a whole list of ministries that this church was and still is carrying out. And then there's a break. For this momentum to continue, your help is needed. Going forward will mean that we have the financial resources needed to fund these ministries and programs that enable our people to minister so effectively for Christ and allow the Spirit to transform lives. Now, that's what we're trying to achieve. I
Yeah.
think that is much more compelling language than saying we're behind budget and we need to catch up.
Yes. The house
I
is on
love,
fire.
yeah, I love the people who serve on the finance committee because
Yep.
theirs is a hard task and at times a thankless task.
Yes.
But my experience have been generally finance committee's first response, if there's not enough money, is to cut ministry.
Right.
Let's start cutting the budgeted plans that we have.
Yes.
And I say you may have to do that, but that's not your first response.
And
Your
that's
first
not
response is say, how can we attack the income column and go
right.
forward?
Right.
And
And
so
that's
that's
not
what
right
I'm
now.
advocating. Go ahead, Bo.
Maybe into the fall, we might need to reduce some budget, but not right now. We're too soon into the new year,
That's right.
and the opportunity to give is upon us. So, friends, what you hear us saying to you is what we say to you every time. Don't panic about money, and don't be embarrassed to ask
Yeah.
about money or talk about money. Be
Right.
confident. And you've heard Ruben say today, this is a spiritual call, just as any other call from the pulpit might be. So, looking at what you have and looking at what you need to have, don't panic in that. God is continuing to be in the process, just as God was in the snow and the ice. God is now in the spring and the summer, and it's up to us to continue to go forward. I love that language, Ruben, and I really appreciate you sharing that with us today. The call is to generosity, is it not?
That's right. So start
And,
from a
and
place of gratefulness and move towards the promise of abundance, because that's the promise given to God's people to carry out God's work. And ask boldly. And fear is just a little small thing to step over and go
right.
ahead and do what you know you need to do anyway. Listen to this other remark here. On Go Forward Day, on July 11, we need to respond to our financial shortfall that is threatening the momentum we have worked so hard to establish.
Uh,
This year, our expenses have exceeded our contributions by $100,000. We need to respond to this need so we do not experience a ministry and mission shortfall. We've done everything possible to avoid this, and with your help, we can continue to do so. Get this, there are so many people depending on us. We
uh,
can't afford to let them down.
that's awesome. Yeah. It's not about me. It's never been about me. Whether I'm the one asking others to be generous or whether I'm the one being asked to be generous,
Right.
it's about those we serve. And you always have a way, Ruben, of bringing us back to that. And I'm always grateful for your calm spirit. The house is not on fire. We're not going backward. We're going forward. So you have a last word for us today?
Well, I think if anybody would like the full text of this article the pastor used with his church some years ago, we'd be happy to send it to you. Just email
Absolutely.
Bo or me, and we will respond right away. And we're glad to share. If there's any other questions that arise, give either of us a call. We'll talk with you about it. That's why we're here.
That's why we're here and part of what we do. Ruben Swint at gmail.com, the generosity guy. You can find his website and check that out. You know about Bo Prosser at bo.prosser at gmail.com, Center for Christian Education, Bo Prosser, all that stuff. Please, if you'd like a copy of the article, we'd be happy to share that with you. If you want other insights, give us a call. I'll get you connected to Ruben. We'll go from there. If there's anything we can help you with in these Sundays that seem challenging, let us know, and we're happy to work with you and give you the confidence that you need to make these things happen. Ruben, thanks so much for
Sure.
joining me. I know this was an emergency kind of briefing that I wanted to throw out, and you were always so kind and generous to join in. So thanks so much.
Glad to do it, Bob. Thanks for
Okay,
everybody for
everybody,
listening.
this has been good stuff. I hope it's helpful for you, and we're always here to share. Please subscribe to our YouTube channel. If you're not getting our newsletter, please let me know, and I'll make sure we get you on our newsletter list as well. Bo Prosser, Born the Beard, Center for Christian Education. Hey, till I see you again, don't panic. The house is not on fire. Keep on rocking.